Hi folks, welcome back to the Q Shed Backyard Barbecue. Today is an exciting day for me because we get to smoke on a new cooker that I just picked up last week. It's a 22-inch Weber Smokey Mountain. Wanted one of these for a long time, finally picked it up, and today is the first cook on it. It's going to be a different cook for me in a lot of ways today because not only am I cooking on a cooker I've never used before, but I'm using a different method, which is hanging ribs and chicken. So I've got a Gateway Drums stainless steel rib hanger set up, and I'm going to be hanging 2 racks of baby back ribs and 2 racks of spare ribs on it, along with 2 chicken halves. So the meat will drip down directly into the exposed coals below. I've got a combination of royal oak, lump charcoal, and some applewood chunks. And over the top of that, I'm going to dump a full chimney of lit Kingsford briquettes. So that's where we're going to be doing it. Looking very forward to this cook and hope for success. Thanks again for joining us. Okay, so here is my new Weber Smokey Mountain 22-inch cooker. And we've got, as I mentioned, royal oak, lump charcoal in there mixed in with some applewood chunks. And I'm going to dump this full chimney of lit Kingsford briquettes over the top, all the way across. See what kind of burn time we get from them, but this will be a good combination for giving me a decent amount of burn time along with some good hot coals to hang the ribs over, which I'm looking very forward to doing. First time I've ever tried this. I have watched others do it, so see how it goes. Middle section of the Smoky Mountain here on. Let the pit come up temp here now, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back, and it's time to get the ribs on the Weber Smoky Mountain 22-inch cooker. Okay, this is the Gateway Drums stainless steel rib hanger kit that they make. They make it for 55-gallon drum smokers, but it fits the 22-inch Smoky Mountain perfectly. So first, we've got the 2 racks of full spare ribs that I've trimmed down a bit. Not all the way to St. Louis size, but they are trimmed. Okay. On the other side, we've got 2 racks of baby back ribs. And we'll be putting the chicken on, 2 chicken halves on a little bit later because they won't take as long as the ribs will. So let me bring this around, give you a peek inside what we're looking at here. So you can see the little safety rack at the bottom there, and coals are rolling pretty well here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why hang the ribs versus lay them across the racks. So the Weber Smoky Mountain does come with 2 racks, a middle rack and an upper rack. So you have quite a bit of grill area, actually. They're 22-inch wide racks, same size racks as the Weber kettle grills use. At least the top one is, the middle one's a bit smaller. But when you hang the ribs, the idea is that you have, with the coals exposed underneath, you have the fat dripping off of the meat down into the coals and creating this flavor explosion that comes up from the coals and really affects the taste of the meat in a positive way from everything I've gathered. Like I said, I've never done this before, never eaten ribs or chicken that have been cooked this way before. So I'm looking forward to it, to compare it to what I would normally do, which is typically to use my bigger cooker here, my Cascade Smokers insulated cooker, and smoke the ribs more traditionally. So let's see how they turn out. Okay, so we are about an hour and 15 minutes into this cook. I've got 2 racks of spare ribs hanging and 2 racks of baby backs hanging. The cooker's been running, probably averaging about 280. So pretty steady in terms of the temps. Let's open it up and take a look. So, looking good. Bring it over a little closer so you can see down there. See there, again, the exposed coals down there. It's a fun way to cook ribs. I've got 2 chicken halves I'm going to be putting on as well, probably in 45 minutes or so, because they won't take as long. Already getting some pullback on the ribs. I think they are going to cook faster this way from everything I've heard they do. So, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to take 1 rack of the baby backs off and wrap them at about the 2-hour mark, so in about 45 minutes from now. Anyway, the others should be good as they are, so I'm not going to do anything else at this point. I'm not going to spritz them or anything. They don't look like they need it. They don't look dry at all. So, getting good color on them. Put the lid back on and let the cooker roll. So we're at about the 2-hour and 15-minute mark in the cook now, and I just pulled one of the racks of baby back ribs and wrapped them and actually put them in the oven at about 260 degrees to finish off. Those are the ones that my wife wanted with kind of a light smoke on them and extra tender, so we're going to do 1 rack that way. The other rack of baby backs are still on, and the other 2 spare ribs are still on. And I put 2 chicken halves on there as well. So I'm going to open up the lid here and take a look here in just a minute. But I did want to say that I'm learning as I go here. My first cook on the Smoky Mountain and hanging. I was out here and I heard a clanging noise, and luckily I had that grate just above the coals, and one of the racks of spare ribs had fallen as the ribs got tender and down onto the grate. So I picked it up and rehooked it. Did the same with the other rack of spare ribs. The rack of baby back ribs was just fine, so I left it as it was. But the other thing I've learned is that temps tend to spike pretty dramatically when you take the lid off on these type of smokers. Essentially, it becomes a drum smoker, and so you want to minimize the amount of time you have the lid off, or you will get temperature swings pretty dramatically. So let's open it up and take a quick look at what we've got going on inside. I also just spritzed the 3 racks of ribs that are still in here when I pulled the lid off and rehooked the spare ribs. So you can see there, see where this rack broke back here. I've got it rehooked in maybe a more solid place. So I think I'll double hook them from now on, which is something I've heard about. Anyway, so I'm going to put the lid back on, let it keep cooking. Okay, so we're at about 3.5 hours into the cook overall, about 1 hour, a little over an hour since I put the chicken on. I'm going to open it up and take a look here. There haven't been any more mishaps in terms of racks of ribs falling that I've noticed. So I think running the hooks through a thicker part of the rib is the way to go. So let's open it up and take a look. So looking good. I'm going to spritz the spares a bit here. Yeah, liking the way everything's looking. Chicken's looking good. Getting some good color on it. Expect the chicken to take another solid hour or so. So we'll come back at that point and check on it again. Okay, so the ribs went a total of 4.5 hours, and there is no doubt about the fact that they are done. They actually, just before I went to go grab them off of the cooker, they fell again, and you can see they were splitting apart. So they'll be super, super tender. Good though, looks great looking color on them, nice bark. Yeah, as I went to go pick them up off of my little safety rack, a couple of them broke apart even further here, but yeah, I like the color. I like the bark. They'll obviously be plenty tender enough, as you can see there. So, just going to slice a few just to show you, but and this is the chicken, which I just took off as well. Chicken went about 2 hours and 10 minutes or so, and it's plenty done. Nice crispy skin, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's cut some ribs from the middle. Take a look, have a little taste test. My first try at hanging ribs. Juicy. They smell fantastic. I have a taste here. I'll try to keep quiet. So they're really good. It's a different flavor, hanging them over the coals versus smoking in my big Cascade smoker. I'm surprised at the mild smoky flavor that they have. I would have expected them to have a heavier flavor, frankly, a heavier smoke profile. It's not a bad thing. It's great, and I think my wife will like them a lot better this way. Really good, terrific color you can see on the bark, great caramelization. Really good taste, really good flavor. Yeah, unique, very different, but it's definitely something I'd want to try again. So I'm not going to show you any more rib slicing tonight. There's no need to. It's all the same. But anyway, again, just take a quick look here at this rack. This is the one that stayed completely intact, and I think it's fantastic color, great bark, good drawback. Yeah, I'm excited about exploring this more in the future, about hanging chicken and ribs and other things in this cooker, and as well as cooking pork butt, brisket, and so forth on it on the racks as it's intended to be used. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Thanks again for checking in at the Q Shed Backyard Barbecue. Really appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed it. Take care.